Hi guys, it's fatpetrolhead here, and today I want to discuss with you approximately 10 years old cars, as they are extremely cheap right now. And really, you can buy a car for about 20% of its original price of a new car of the same model. Especially it is applicable to some premium brands, German or British cars for example. However, as for Toyota or Honda, usually you wouldn't get a 10 years old car for 20% of the price of a new car. And as you can guess probably, used car market is quite practical and the price there are usually reasonable. So today let's discuss whether it is a good idea to buy a 10 years old car and save hell a lot of money, maybe repair something in it but still save a lot, or it is not that good idea. The thing is that according to my experience, and I used to be a car sales manager on a used car market, that 10 years old cars are absolutely unpredictable. Yes, even Toyota and Honda. Usually when the car is 10 years old and it wasn't owned by one car enthusiast, let's say in 90% of cases at least, it wasn't serviced always well. It wasn't maintained well. It has some faults. And also it has just the standard wear. And I'm talking not only about the main parts of the car like engine and transmission, but also all details in the suspension would be partly worn out. Also cooling system, braking system, all electronics. On many markets you would face a lot of rust on the 10 years old car if you have snow, if you have a lot of salt on roads in the winter time, or it's just a humid climate. And if you had an experience of owning approximately 10 years old car, just try to remember, usually something in this car wasn't working correctly or you had some small issue and you just didn't care about it. By the way guys, your like would support channel a lot and subscribe for more, and welcome to our community. Of course, you could be an exception and your 10 years old car is in ideal condition. However, I'm sorry to say that finally, you would face some problems with this car. Or otherwise, you can just don't care about your car condition until it goes straight. But okay, you for example spent $10,000 instead buying the same model for $50,000. And of course you can repair something. However, with a 10 years old car, usually you have some issues when something is broken and nobody can diagnose it properly. Or at least it takes some time, going to several garages, comparing prices and all that. And it really works like that according to my experience, because when you have some problem, some issue with a 3-5 years old car, you just go to the garage and they diagnose it in 10 minutes. They just change a part and everything works perfectly. However, with a 10 years old car, okay, you have some problem in suspension, some strange noise. You go there and a lot of parts are partly worn out, and not every service, not every garage can diagnose it properly. That's really work like that. But okay, some suspension problem is the easiest thing to diagnose, and here you need just a good garage. However, if we talk about electronics, especially in, for example, German car, then, and it is a 10 years old car, so in humid climates some connections in electronics can be just rusted, and to diagnose it properly, it would take time. I know many cases when 10-15 years old cars were just abandoned or sold at the auctions for nothing, just because nobody could diagnose the problem with the car. For example, it just didn't start, and okay, you removed all panels, you find all electronics, you checked everything, you changed several parts, you spent like 30-40% of the price of this car to diagnose the problem with no result. And of course, you just have nothing to do, you don't want to invest more money in this car. And here you can write in comments that your Toyota or Honda wouldn't have such issues. And that's probably partly true. Because, of course, the chance of such faults where you cannot diagnose the problem is much less with Japanese brands than with technically complicated German cars, for example. But okay, let's end up with technically complicated cars of 10 years old that you can buy really for cheap. Should you buy them? And of course, it's up to you to decide, because I love these cars. I love 10 years old German or British cars. They are fun to drive. However, you should be just prepared to spend hell a lot of time and money if something goes wrong. Of course, you can be lucky and it would be a problem of the next owner. However, just be prepared in case that you have a lot of free time and some money, you don't have family, or your family is very loyal to your car, and then okay, you are good to go. Buy a car that you want, 10, 15, 20 years old, doesn't matter. However, if you are looking for a reliable daily driver and unfortunately you have to spend more time in office than in the garage, or at least waiting for your car, then probably an old German car is not the right choice for you. But what about 10 years old Japanese cars? They are more reliable than German cars, especially in electronics, and they don't have so much issues. Of course, there are some issues there can be with electronics, but it's just easier to diagnose them and cheaper to repair usually. And here the problem would be kind of an opposite to German brands. Because if we talk about really reliable Japanese cars without CVT transmissions and so on, then you wouldn't get them for 20% of price. I mean, 10 years old car that we started with. And on a used car market, you wouldn't have such price difference between 5 and 10 years old reliable Japanese cars. Just because nobody wants to sell a car when it is 10 years old for nothing. And as I see this choice, I wouldn't go for a 10 years old reliable Japanese car. Because, okay, for 5 years old car, you would pay maybe 50% more. But you would get just newer car, and 10 years old car of any brand would feel worn out. You would really feel it, you wouldn't enjoy it that much. If you are not into cars, you are looking for a daily driver just to go from point A to point B, then the reliable Japanese car would be quite a good option, without CVT transmission of course, and after pre-purchase inspection. Then you can drive it for 5 years more without any serious problems usually, and you wouldn't notice that the suspension is not working like it should be from the factory. And it would be an ideal car for you. But if you are more into cars, then I would say that 10 years old car usually is not the right choice, if only you really love such model and you want to invest your time and money in the car. Thank you for watching and see you soon. Alright, now if you click one of these videos, I hope you will enjoy them as well.